Black Friday where my wife is shopping with her mom and stuff. But the big day is always the first day of deer season. My wife is the biggest hunter ever. So what we do is we'll spend the weekend at the in-laws, and so it's like Thanksgiving, Black Friday to do Christmas shopping. We'll stay the weekend, and then Monday is the first day of deer season in PA. Okay. Right, and so she'll go out. She's a huge hunter. She'll go get a deer, and then we'll carve it at the in-laws' house and butcher it there. Yeah, and so that's how Thanksgiving always goes. And we come back. We always say the tag to hunt the deer is like $30, and the bullet's like $2. And considering you get like 35 pounds of meat, right? That's $1 a pound of like high quality deer meat. So it's always that's always the thing, is just preparing that, right? And
people have that argument like, are you supposed to have ham? Are you supposed to have turkey? And you're like, well, we have deer.
Yeah, no, we definitely have turkey for Thanksgiving, and that's just like, then every day from Thanksgiving to Christmas is like the protein is deer every day, right? Like if we're having any kind of meat, it's always ground up deer meat or deer steaks it's so good too.
Yeah, my dad was a big hunter, and he would get a deer, and we would have like a fridge full of meat. And my favorite was always the sausage, like really spicy deer sausage.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, I mean, you could just use it for pretty much anything. I think my favorite is when you get it off the butchering, and then you get to have that, like, we have like the really nice kind of deer meat, like fresh, like it's never even like refrigerated, right? It goes from the carcass to the grill. It's like that's really good. So
is it gamey when it's been done that way, or is it like gamier after it's been frozen?
It's about the same, right? And like a deer meat's not even really that gamey. It's really just like low, it's really just low fat meat, right? And so it's really good. And if it is gamey, I can't tell, because it's just so well balanced with the seasonings and stuff that we use, where it's just I love deer meat. So marrying my wife was one of the best things that ever happened to me, just because I get free access, like cheap access to deer meat, and I don't even have to hunt. I just sit there, twiddle my thumbs, get a text message, "Oh, got deer." I'm like, "Oh, sweet, we're eating good," right? Like,
nice.
So
what's the side of choice? Like, that's the big question this week, is what's your favorite Thanksgiving side?
Yeah, and I mean, I'm a big meat and potatoes guy, so just any kind of potato, right? Like, mash is probably my favorite. But just like baked potatoes, like home fry, stuff like that. It's just, meat and potatoes. I could like eat that breakfast, lunch, dinner, and dessert. That's my favorite. So like
dessert
definitely
potatoes.
The potatoes. Yeah, dessert. I mean, like just I'll just take steak and potatoes again for dinner, for dessert, right? Like, I don't need nothing sweet,
Well, yeah, so, we are doing roast potatoes. I just had to find like the smallest red potatoes I could find to make some good roast potatoes. So
so it's very good. Very
big day coming up. Big day coming up this week.
Yeah, it's definitely a thing where we definitely take the time off and just really enjoy the holiday with the in-laws. It's even bigger than Christmas, like for us, like just the coming together and the Thanksgiving of it all and whatnot. So yeah. But
nice. Well, hey, you party people. I almost forgot my own little catchphrase there. It's Ned Crash. Ned Consumes the World, and today we are joined by the smartest Godforge player, UnboundSage. Welcome.
Thank you. I don't know about smartest, but I do try.
The infamous architect of the plan TM.
Yeah, that was so fun. For those of you who don't know, the Fateless Discord, or the Godforge Discord as it is now, the alpha voice chat was crazy, and the day before alpha, it's a well-known story that I came up with a plan, and it was a plan at the time. I didn't realize how effective it was going to be, but we just called it the plan TM, just memeing, especially as we got more and more sleep deprived, right? It just became the one thing we hung on to as we were going deep into the night. It's like, stick to the plan. Yeah, so it was a lot of fun.
The you had a spreadsheet and everything, right? Because you had taken note of all the floors during Wave 2 and what the stars were.
Yeah, so what happened was there was a lot of information passed around, and one of them was Ragewood actually took note of it and shared it just with whoever was in there. And so I took that and really broke down and I watched some. So the day before, the famous story, I asked my wife, hey, can I go for this Vegas trip? Right? And she's like, yeah. Right. And so from that day, I kind of put my head down and I really focused on it. But it was the spreadsheet was the minimum amount of champions needed to 3-star every stage. So it was like our 2-star every stage, right? So it was like the overlaps, paying attention to that kind of stuff, like realizing that you need Loki or you need Odin and Shamash, right? That kind of stuff where it's like, basically it's like, when can you stop farming legendaries? Because you hard needed either Loki, it would cover 2 of them, or Shamash and Odin, and just like the stuff like, who has curse, right?
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, there's Mummy, right? So if you don't have a curse champion, you can like keep a Mummy, right? Don't just blindly throw it away until you have a replacement curse champion, stuff like that, right? So it was like I did not make any mistakes in execution because I had that spreadsheet. So and I laid it all out for myself, like, okay, when you get Shinigami, when you get Hell, you can get rid of Mummy. You don't need him anymore, right? When you like get Sphinx, you don't need Set anymore, right? Stuff like that. So and just so I took 12 hours to kind of come up with the route, because I knew I wasn't going to be the fastest. The fastest down was going to be a lot of luck involved. It's getting that Zeus as early as possible.
Yeah.
And then I knew I'm not very good at boss damage at all. And so I knew my strength was going to be if I focus 100% on the stars, like from day one, from second one, what route can I take to secure those stars first, right? And that's where the Shinigami meme came from, was, Shinigami was essential for floor 142, right? Or we thought, right? And has curse, has hex, so you need them anyway, right? And so, it's kind of like, well, Shinigami and Guan Yu pair well together, actually, because Shinigami brings a drain on the ultimate. And so it was like, kind of, okay, well, those will be my 2 damage dealers. So I'm guaranteed to have Guan Yu. Shinigami's rare. And then if I have both of them leveled, they're both used in 142. That'll give me a head start, right? So instead of like say leveling up a Hercules, who's just never used on the higher stages because he doesn't fit the profile of what's asked of you, right?
Yeah.
Leveling up champions that makes sense. So it was crazy too. I honestly didn't believe it was working until I was like in the, I was missing like 15 stars, and you could kind of see where the race was converging. Because in those early, like in the first 2 days, it was completely unclear who was going to win the star race, just because of the nature of it. So
those first 2 days, I mean, we were all just kind of keeping an eye on the race. And I'll never forget the Raid Shadow Legends name floating in the list, And it was not me. I'll say that in public. It was not me. Obviously, either, I was running the Ned Crash account. But whoever did it, just pro troll. That's one of the best trolls I've ever seen. And they did not win.
I mean, that first night, right? Because didn't Lyco won, and he clocked in at like 22 hours or something like that.
Oh, was it under 24? I thought it was just over 24.
It might have been. It was around 24. I thought it was just under, but I don't remember. Right, I'm running completely off of history. But the whole thing is we were trying to knock the Raid Shadow Legends guy out of the top 10, and he got 11th. Right, so enough people like beat him because he got hard stuck at like 142, I think.
He got 142,
because he was skyrocketing from the 120 wall, right? And we were like, oh no, he's skyrocketing. He probably has a Zeus or something, and then he hits the 142 wall, and then doesn't quite recover in time for like Lyco Fusion. Papa Tez snuck in, Pio Pico, right? Mr. Sneaky, obviously as well.
Yeah.
So like those. those more well-known names at the time. Like all of those people, they were either in the Discord or like even like Draco Joker, Cupcake. Those were all people that were known. They were people that were collaborating in some way, either through Hivemind at the time, which I was not in Hivemind for the initial push.
Yeah, you were Team Alpha Chat with me for the first 2 days.
Yeah, I was in Team Alpha Chat because I didn't know about it. They invited me, but my Discord was such a mess. I didn't see the invitation. And so I was just like, I guess these guys are just focusing, but I'm just going to hang out in Alpha Chat. But
yeah, I remember it was a lot of you, me, and Shadow. Have you heard from Shadow since then at all?
No, I mean, he was on his grandma's laptop, right? So he probably had to give that back.
So funny.
He did get his coin, too. His coin, he didn't get it yet, but his coin, is coming to him, I believe.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, that was everybody's real sort of, this is what I want to achieve sort of thing. And, and I've said it many times. I just wanted to beat Simon, and I beat Simon, but I did not beat Brad. I'm fine with that,
Yeah. You lost to Chosen, you said?
Yeah. Chosen with an E, too, because at first there was a Chosen with a U. And I was like, that's weird. Why would he misspell his name? But that guy was smoking us. And I was like, well, he knows his own game. And then I saw him with an E pop up. And I was like, I don't know who this other one is. But yeah, it was just that I was flip-flopping with Hell Hades on the board the second day all day. And then by the time I locked it in, I was like, thank God.
Yeah. Oh, Hell Hades didn't finish until... Because I have the... I love that they left the leaderboard up so I can keep referencing this. So Hell Hades finished 336. I mean, he must have been busy or something.
On the race? He finished 336. Oh, yeah. Wow. Yeah.
But he was in the running. He was top 100 for the first day. He was top 100.
Yeah, for the first 2 days.
Yeah, I think he got stuck at the 140s, right? But the climb down, I really leaned on a lot of strategy. Because I remember telling people like, they saw my name. I finished 24th, I think. Yeah, 24th. And I finished with Shinigami Guanyu, right? That was my damage core. And then I had a Sphinx that I would swap out.
They were your first 260s?
Yeah. Guanyu was first and then Shinigami. Because the idea is from day one, I was always laser focused on the stars, right? So I did get better damage dealers, but they didn't fit the star profile. So I stuck with the two that fit. And people kept asking me, it's like, hey, you're top 20. I was top 10 at some point, top 5 even at one point with those carries. And people are like, are Shinigami good? Should I switch to Shinigami? And I was like, no, it's a nightmare. When you're juggling, I was like, is Shinigami a good character? Yes, but they are very manual. I was manualing the stages from stage 95. I was 100% focused, manualing every move, think about every move, and every attempt would take 10 minutes. And then, if you fail 5 times, it's an hour on a stage of just straight concentration. And I was like, if you're just trying to finish, no. But if you're going for the stars as well, right, you're gonna have to, that's really gonna help you hit those bottlenecks and stuff, right? Yeah, so my main team going down when I got to the 130s, 140s was Shinigami Guanyu, Scotty, and Mordred. And the idea was a very aggressive team with a lot of CC, right?
You ran Scotty and Mordred together?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, okay. And so the idea was this was an RNG fest to get the freezes and stuff.
Yeah.
But you need all those champions. Right, you need Mordred for some stuff. You need Scotty for other stuff. Right, there's just good champions all around anyway. Right, so I did 6-star my Scotty by the time I got to that stage, because there was a disruptor only mission that I planned to use Scotty as the main carry because she has great attack scaling. So I was like, and then Mordred's obviously just good. But that was my damn it was just a very offensive CCing, evaluating if I needed CC, if I didn't need CC. But it was very, very difficult to play. And that's why I was telling people, don't build Shinigami unless you're ready to sit down and think about it. Because
I'm suffering days 1 and 2 in favor of days 3 and 4.
Yeah, and then, in days 3 and 4, it was I have all my champions built. It was just a matter of, I think I won in the middle of day 4. And I really won because we found out that the label, it's famous, the label for 142 was not what it said it was. And so the whole Shinigami plan didn't even matter because he wasn't necessary for what I thought he was needed for. But I was the one who discovered that. So I remember setting a screenshot to Fateless like, hey, here's a victory screen of me doing this. Could you talk about it? And then they came back and said, yeah, hey, it's not right. We'll put in an announcement and kind of just say, hey, we're going to lower the star count, right? And there were 2 bug stars. There was 149, which there were invisible buffs going around. It was beat the stage without any buffs, right? So new defense down, no buffs. There were invisible buffs that they tried to explain how it worked. I didn't know how it worked. the champion combo I used unorthodox champions. You have to remember this. So when I did it with my champions, it worked. Because they were just some of the champions that weren't giving themselves invisible buffs. But some people got hard stuck there. And then for 142, I don't want to say I beat the legitimate way, right? And so when they sent the message, I kind of got the vibe. They didn't say it was impossible to get. The kind of wording made it feel like maybe it is possible, that maybe the tooltip's wrong. And they didn't say that, but like when you're in a private DM, right, I have a little bit more information that I believe I deserve from beating it the way they asked me to, right? So at the beginning I felt bad. I was like, oh, I had this information I shouldn't have. But the other time, I was the only person that we knew of that did it the way they asked me to. So I kind of deserved the extra information. And I was like, well, maybe it's a different faction. And then we tried Asgard first.
Yeah.
It was Asgard, right? So, so, we won the race. I think Lyco actually got to 298 stars first, but he already won the race to the bottom. So
right,
then,
that's right. Yeah.
And then
he was up there.
And then I won second, and then Papa Tez won shortly after. The famous call of us like, hey Pop, like we got it all figured out, like
go home.
Yeah, go home. Like we like everything else, it was we found out like for 150 it was get it without a debuff. It was literally like you just put enough resistance on, you put Heimdall and Sphinx on your team, and you just auto run it. And eventually you'll get it, right? It seemed to be a little buggy, it seemed to be a little whatever. But if you had the resistance or something, you just keep autoing it and you'll get it within like 4 or 5 attempts, right? Like, don't think too hard about it, just do it. I don't know if it was bugged or if it was like, because I didn't watch it run, so I didn't see if I got a debuff or not, right? But like, just run it, and then obviously with the tech we had for 142, that was enough. Yeah. But obviously, that wasn't enough for me. I wanted to get all 300, and I did. I was one of 3 people to get all 300. And so famously, 143 asks, beat it with Chaos Champions. 2 Chaos Champions. And Anubis, it was the star of the show, right? Because there was a wave where, famously, the second wave was a Raw with 2 ward stacks. And an Isis as well. And so if you went with a slow team, like a Dracula Sphinx kind of team, right, and really slow grind it, the Isis will outvalue you. And if you go for this really fast team, you only have 2 champions. So when you attack, you have to get through 2 wards, and if you don't, the Raw nukes you and you die. And so when you had Anubis, you would kill another person, you would CC the Raw, and then everything was fine, right? But I eventually beat that with Mordred stealing the buffs, right? You'd steal the ward, and then I duped them with Hell. But like that took a while to find that tech and find the right stuff, and it left the famous 148 beat it with 2 rares. And I think this is kind of where I got the title of like the smartest player, right? Is because everyone in the alpha thought you couldn't do it. Everyone was like, this is impossible. And I was like, I think it is, guys. Like, I think we can do this. And so I got it. It was right at the beginning of day 5, right, I got that star, and that was the last star I needed to get all 300.
And was that Guan Yu Shinigami?
It was Guan Yu. I tried Shinigami, but it turned out you just needed raw power. So it was actually Guan Yu, Lady Jacques, and he was the punchline.
Okay.
The lineup was, it was an Isis, Asag, and 2 Horuses. The Horuses did not have the same effective HP. So you wanted your first nuke to kill the one Horus while leaving the other one alive, so you can like reset your cooldowns.
Oh, interesting.
And it was really, and that was the key. Once you had it, so your 2 nukes together would, your 2 core abilities would kill them, and then you would have time to reset. And then your starters, they, whenever they get kills, they get ultimate charges. Whenever they get an ultimate kill, they get a core charge. When you go into the second wave with full ultimate and full core, it's easy, right? It's a joke, because then you kind of carry that momentum into wave 3. So once you solve the first wave, it was really easy. And I'm proud to note that there was only 3 people that got it, and all 3 of them had access to my notes because they were in the hive mind. So the only people that got all 300 stars, I don't know if they used them or not, right? They weren't like super active chatty members, but I posted it. I posted the stats I used, and I got it on day 5, and they got it at like day 9 or day 10. So I think kind of getting that accomplishment of all 300 is what gave me the moniker of the smartest player, even though I just focused on it, So,
well, there's a lot of aspects to that too, right? Because you sort of assume, and maybe it's not a safe assumption in games like this, but you sort of assume that like you have these characters, right? Like I've got a Jacques, an Isis, a Shamash, whatever. So I know how the characters work because I have them. I see their kits, I see their base stats. But what you're going up against is not necessarily default version of the characters that you're used to.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, you don't know if they're awakened or not. That's a big thing, because some characters like Heimdall, you'd see that A5 shield come up, but there are other characters like Horus that did not taunt your characters, and Horus's A3 taunts all Slayers. So it was unclear, you kind of had to like, Fernando was like, okay, how tanky is this guy, And so, yeah, throwing a lot of assumptions out the window was a really good start, if that makes sense.
How did you figure out that one had less HP than the other, just by the hits not killing him?
Yeah, it was one of the times I did it, I killed one and not the other. And I was like, oh, they have different HP. And that was the one that that was the run that won. Was when that happened, I identified the winning line. Because when weird stuff happens, I took a step back and I thought for a minute. And I was like, oh, here's the winning line. And it just won. And I remember I was just sitting in chat. I was grinding this and just like, I would grind for gear a little bit, analyze the gear. Okay, this one's a little bit better, right? Put this one on. And then I finally found the gear combination that would brought me to victory, right? So it was fun. It was a lot of fun. And after that, I was like, my account was shot. There was no way I was doing top Fafnir damage. Like my
because you spent so long farming for specifics rather than account power.
Yeah, and so like if you look at it's like, oh, UnboundSage, he's so smart, he knows everything, he's part of the hive mind. And it's like, yeah, I finished top 25 with an unusual comp, right? I was the top star guy, but my account was shot. I finished 126 on Fafnir damage, and I was in the hive mind with all our like working together and stuff. But like, by the time I got the stars, my account was just like, it was not preparing for Fafnir, right? And I was really not in that race at all. Not that I want to be, but like, I'm not good at boss damage. I'm just not like the big like clan boss style damage, and yeah. So I was never in the top 100. I really wanted to be for the diorama, but I couldn't make it happen. The account, I needed to build up too many champions. Like I didn't have any champions built for the team, so.
I think from a strategy game standpoint, though, you won the hardest thing to win. Because the race is a combination of luck, but also just sweaty grind, right? Yeah. You got to be focused. You got to stay up. You can't go to sleep. You just got to like do that. And there's some strategy when it comes to when you hit your walls, what you farm. But the, that's 1/3 of it. And then the damage is like, you just have to know the trick, whether you figured the trick out or somebody told you the trick. And then you have to repeat, iterate, trick. But the stars is like, you got to do that 150 times, right? 150 times I had to sit here and figure out what's the right thing to do and spend my time and resources on.
Yeah, and that's kind of what you saw too. And I thank you for saying that is the hardest. I think it was as well, but like I don't like to brag about it. But I think it was the hardest, right? And you can kind of see that where people that got their Zeus I got Zeus at 150. I beat 150, and Zeus was my reward for beating Fafnir, right? So I feel like playing New Game Plus was like I was grinded through with Shinigami, and then finally I get the boss, right, who you need for a few stars, or he makes a few stars very easy. But you can kind of see that, right? People that had their Zeus already built, or people that had certain characters built, they rushed through the stars. But then I was behind like 20 or 30 stars for the initial, like on the day 3 push, that people were really pushing for the stars. But I never stopped. I never got hit by any wall, because my account was built for it. It was just chugging along, doing it with the characters. And so me and Fusion were like 5 away for the longest time. And he really wanted to beat me, just to push me more. He was like, I'm going to take all your stars, man. Because I was getting tired. I was like, man, it's day 3. I slept like 2 hours each night, right? And he was like, I'm going to take your stars if you go to bed. And I'm like, no. So yeah, it was a big motivator for sure.
It was easy to stay up the first night. I remember that. I stayed up way too late, and I didn't even like intend to. I wasn't like, I'm going to play 24 hours straight like some madman. But by night 2, it was like, I got to figure out how to get some sleep, man. I'm going to be worthless for the rest of the week.
Literally, I kind of did it. I slept for 1 REM cycle. And like I would literally set an alarm for like I'm gonna get like 4 hours of sleep tonight, right? Try to get like a half night sleep, and I slept for like an hour and a half, and my body just woke up and like wanted to play more Godforge, like especially with I think I went to bed. I was like, I got past the 120 wall, so I never really got stuck anywhere on the climb, because I had a strategy for each. I knew what the hard battles were. Optimized Gaming actually dropped exactly what was the battle on each floor for each wave. And I studied that as well. And I remember the hard floors, I would make sure I had a strategy for each of the hard floors as well. That also fit into the star strategy. So I never got stuck, but my strategies were more difficult to execute. And so sometimes it would take me like 4 or 5 runs to finally fine-tune the strategy to work. But if you saw me climb, I was just like a slow train, chugga all the way to the finish, and it was cool. I was very happy with it. It was so fun, man. Alpha Wave 3, especially like talking to people like you, and meeting with people that were there. I remember Banshee as well. Going off and making me a song and stuff. Yeah, and he was every time I wanted to talk, like, hey guys, can I like say something? I'm like, yeah, go ahead, dude. It's a public Discord, like.
Yeah, at times you got like 20 people all talking over each other. The best was when we would all interrupt each other to answer somebody's question. So somebody jumps in and they're like, hey, can you all help me? And then like 7 people are like, yeah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I mean, it was a nice break from the climb, right? Whereas like some new guy came and was like, hey, I'm stuck on like Fafnir 30. Can you guys help me? It's like, yeah, we got you, dude. Like anything to get away from 142, right? Like,
yeah. Or like, what do I do while I leave it on farm for 2 hours and I'm not sleeping? Like, then I gotta still be entertained.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. Like, it was a lot of fun. So
it was a cool experience for sure. And I've mentioned it before, but and I'd love to get your thoughts on this. How there's a concept. Sometimes I do this with thoughts, right? Where I have a thought and I back up and I back up and I back up. But there's a concept in the world of like customer service and experience where the concept is like you can create a brand champion by delighting customers. And so you begin to try to find scenarios where you engineer a delightful experience, very like purposefully, that the person's not expecting. Sometimes it happens naturally. I think in this case, it just naturally happened. This was like a delight moment, but this is memorable. Once the game launches and we're chugga-chugging a month, 2 months, 3 months in, how does Fateless engineer another moment of delight if they could even potentially recapture this magic?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is just how, it's about making sure the community does it, right? Because the what made it fun was the Discord, right? Like, if you weren't in the Fateless Discord, guys, even for like an hour, like we would have Fateless members come in and talk, right? Like Chloe would be there quite often, or like Sham even came in, one of the founders came in. But a lot of it was just community members that, like for me, I didn't talk in the Discord until I was sitting there for like a couple hours, so I kind of got the vibe, right?
Yeah.
And you had that a lot where like people would come in and kind of just like chill for a little bit, and then they'd kind of catch the vibe, right? And I think Fateless is doing a good job with that, with the way they're handling lore. They said they're not going to handle the lore in a silver platter, right? They're going to leave a lot of stuff for the community to find. And even just now, like Adam found some new stuff that we knew like months ago that we could have pieced together things we were given today, right? So I think lore will be that for like the more casual people that kind of want to like explore the characters and stuff. But I think really the player tournaments, right? Of they talk about hosting a tournament and stuff too. I think if they want to do that, I think they're doing exactly the right thing of just like building a community and giving the community tools to do that, right? Like I could even see like PvP tournaments down the line that have like a small cash prize. That's like, hey guys, like $200 to the winner, right? And it's gonna be a big community event where like, hey, we you qualified for this somehow, right? And you're gonna catch that magic of that like 4 or 5 hour tournament of just like going super hard, like getting these like stories that happen. So yeah, I think letting the community kind of work, right? It kind of giving us a voice channel in the Discord was all it needed, right, to make it as magical as it was.
Yeah.
Because like everyone knew the story of the winners. Like everyone knew who Leica was. Everyone knew Fusion. Everyone knew me. Everyone knew Papa Tez, right? Everyone knew Draco Joker and I always can't pronounce his name, but Saw, right?
Sopalin. I'd say Sopalin. I have no idea.
Sopalin, right? And like we were all in the chat. Like the winners were known, right? And even Nine, when he was running for boss damage, like Nine was in the chat chilling, right? He was one of the guys I enjoyed talking to a lot too, one of the mods that whatever. But like Alpha 3, it went from I was the guy who knew the Divinity system the best, and so I released it. I kind of want to talk about my CC journey, right? Because it's kind of hand in hand here, right? In Alpha 2, Sham came in, and someone asked about how does Divinity work, and he explained it at a very technical level, and I understood it, and no one else kind of quite got it, or they kind of had an idea, and I was like, well, if most of the community doesn't get it, right? If only like, I think there were like 20 people on the call, right? So let's say they all understand it, which probably wasn't true, but let's just say it was. I was like, well, I'll just make a video explaining it because I understand it. And that was my first video on Godforge. It was like, here's the Divinity system, and here's how it works, right? And here's some takeaways. And then I wasn't going to make any other videos. I was like, that's good enough. But winning Alpha Wave 3 the way that I did, and the community support from you and from like Shadow and Banshee and stuff, I was like, man, this community is great. I kind of want to like keep being a part of this, right? And people, I remember like people were cheering me on. I don't know if it was you or someone, but I remember I was like down and out, and someone was like, oh, there's a race between Fusion and Sage. Who's going to win? And I'm like, oh, man. Now I have to, like, Fusion's bullying me, and now, like, the people are cheering me on. I felt like the people's champion, And I was like, I got to make content for this game. So I've been trying to make 2 videos a week of just, like, my thoughts, right? There's not a lot of information. There's not a lot of CC leaks now, because it's really nose to the grindstone for them. Like, we've
trying to get ready.
Yeah, I've talked to Dirk on my channel. He's the head technical design, right? So he's the guy kind of, doing all the technical stuff. So, so you have Saf, who's doing like the high level game design, and then Dirk's kind of like doing the nitty gritty, right? That's my understanding. And then I've talked to the lead narrative guy, Aaron, twice in person, and a few times on the Discord, like with type chat. Yeah. And they are busy. They are grinding to finish this game right now. So there's not a lot of leaks for us CCs, which is fine. But I was like, I want to release 2 videos a week. Just, I think about the game all the time. And I'm just like, I have thoughts about it. And I just want to like practice making videos. So when the game comes out, I'm used to the flow of a video, right? So I've gotten to the point where I can sit down and record a 15-minute video and have it on YouTube within an hour. So I was like,
yeah, your channel is really interesting, because I remember when we were in Alpha Chat, you had done a video long before I did. I think you maybe had done a video during Alpha 2, but we were all talking about your Shamash video. And you were saying like, oh, I've got like an idea for an angle where like half the people don't know who any of these heroes are, so I can do this background video. And that was the first video of yours that I saw. And I was looking at your channel today before the show just to catch up, like, what's Sage been doing? And it's like, not only have you had them like on your channel, but you've got that collab with like Adam and Rage where you're talking to narrative design for an hour. Like, you're doing some really cool stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said too, is the Fateless team really values community. So if you're a CC, I literally messaged Aaron when I had like 30 subscribers or 40 subscribers. And I was like, hey, I don't want to take up your time. Can I give you like 10 questions to answer? And you don't have to come on my channel. Just like, can you answer them in a text, like in a DM? And then I'll just like read them off to my viewers. And he's like, no, I'll come onto your channel. Go invite Papa Tez, right? And that's how they are, right? So like, every time I've asked for something reasonable from the Fateless team, they're just like, oh yeah, you want to have Dirk on? Sure, right? You want to have them on? Sure. And, really leaning into their hospitality, right? Like, they have a sheet for us to fill out as CCs that we can request anyone. So, doing stuff like that, and then just, the same thing I always do is just careful consideration. I'm not afraid to put myself out there. So, like, when the boss leagues came out, a lot of CCs were just, they were giving some stuff, but I went down and was like, all right, guys, 20-minute video. Here's the champs you want to use. Like, here's the core mechanics. Here's something you might have missed. There's 3 ways to beat the boss. And like, I think that's what I'm probably best at, is just going these super in-depth rabbit trails, right? This super technical. And that's also why the lore is interesting as well, is because the lore is going to be good, man. Like, I would not be skipping cutscenes, because it's going to be really good. So that's kind of the vibe for the channel. It's just like, right now it's going to be like kind of lore, and then also kind of like really technical stuff. Like, hey, here's how you beat the Daimyo with only rares, right? Back then, that was, stuff like that. So, so that's kind of the vibe of the channel, is just these really big, deep dives. So, don't expect me just reading from a PowerPoint. I'm definitely expect long-winded lectures. So,
you're going to become the Saf of honestly, Godforge.
I love Saf's videos, man. I love Saf's videos. So if I could become the Saf, that'd be great. But yeah, I'm just so excited. I can't wait for like launch day to happen. I plan on doing a stream for launch day. Right, like always start streaming like 2 hours before global launch, right?
Have you streamed before? Have you done it? Have you done it on Twitch?
I have streamed before. I'll probably just stream on YouTube. I have streamed for other games. I've had like 1 or 2 viewers, right? But the community is great, because like my channel has been growing a lot. Like I have like 75 subscribers for a game that's not even out yet. And
for a channel that popped up 2 months ago.
Yeah, exactly. And like, when you look at the growth too, the growth is like super steady and super like, it's growing. And, there are videos, like obviously the Fateless ones do the best, right? When I'm interviewing a Fateless person, but like, there are some lore videos that are just like, oh, hey. Or like, I'm also doing a spreadsheet with all known heroes. So we actually have seen every hero's portrait in the game, besides 5.
226, right? That's the magic
220,
number?
226. We're not sure if it's 226 or 224. 226 right is what it seems to be, right? But and then for those, let's say 226 portraits, we have the name of 200 of them. So we have a good idea of who's in the game. We know every legendary. Like if you are interested in any legendary hero, we know exactly what their picture is and what their name is. They've all been confirmed over videos, right? And so that's been my, like, you know, I want to serve the community, right? And so I have a lot of free time on my hands. I am currently in between jobs, and finding a job is miserable.
Oh, that's how you're doing 2 videos a week. I was like, one video a week's tough, man.
Yeah.
It's nice, man. It's really exciting. You know, all the different journeys, people who've been doing this for a while, people who popped up really during the alphas just start doing this, but it's a really nice community that's really supportive. A lot of good people as we roll into early access and whatever it looks like.
Yeah, and sure too. And even collaborations like this, right, is like, I think I have done videos, and I don't think I've started any collaborations, mind you. And I really should. I did the one with Papa Tez, right? But I think I've been on podcasts with like 5 or 6 other content creators without doing something like this, right? It really is a community. It's not a competitive space, right?
No,
like
not
we're not competing with each other. You know, there's a lot of help. Even we have a CC chat in the Fateless Discord, and there are always helpful people, just kind of like helping, especially us newer guys, kind of like figure stuff out, right? So.
Yeah, Susie and Chloe are really good at what they do. They've been incredibly helpful. And the community as a whole, I mean, Brandon, I think I accidentally called Brandon Brad on last week's episode, but I meant Brandon. Brandon's incredible. Sneaky's been nothing but helpful. And then obviously the company's run by people who did exactly this for a living for years before they started this game. And that's the spark, I think, behind why. Because even today I was reading in another Discord, in Raid, which I don't currently play and haven't for a while now, they've got this really weird IP collab with Alien versus Predator. So now, like, you know, in a high fantasy hero collector, you've got Predator and the Alien as characters. And
all right.
And people were just sitting there like crapping all over it. And the one theme that you always see is like, God, the only reason I still play this game is because of the community. I see that so many times in raid comments.
Yeah, I think, it's community is so important too, and that's like where the magic is too. Even just like, you know, in the time between Godforge and early access, I still follow the Discord. I try to read every Discord message, and you know, it's cool because we have an art contest going on right now. I'm an awful artist, but I put my hat in the ring. And
did you? Oh, no,
yeah, I did. Yeah, if you want to see, you can definitely put it on screen in the video if that's something that can be done. It's in the art submission. It was probably about a week ago, I'd say. Yeah,
about a week ago.
Let's see. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 up, but like it's nothing great, but like people are popping off at it. They're like, oh, look at this stuff, and like everything around it is so much better, but like the community just wants to thrive.
Wait, the Scion's first summon?
That's me. Yeah,
this isn't bad.
Oh, it's so bad. Like, dude, look up and down and tell me, like, I am not I feel like a kindergartner with crayons compared to these guys. But like,
let me see if this works. I've not tried with Riverside yet, but let's select oh yeah, I can do window. There it goes. Yeah, there's the zoom technology.
Wow, there's the technology. Go. Yeah, so that's I made that from scratch, right?
No AI, right?
No AI. No, I you know, if you want to talk about AI, that's gonna be my culture thing. But if you want to talk about it now, I'm pretty anti-AI. So the other nothing against people that use it, but just for my workflow, it's not it. And I'd rather have art with some soul, right? Like the Scion handing the eternal ether stone to or was this flawless? They're called flawless ether stones flawless lethal stone to the Godforge, right? I'd rather have this than but yeah. So I drew this, and it's like I don't think this looks that great. Like it's my banner for YouTube, so take that as it is.
Oh, that's good enough to be the banner for YouTube.
I also drew my profile picture as well. The UnboundSage profile picture. I drew that as well.
Nice.
It's just cool to see the community come together, even for this is not super high quality art, but like there are people that just do quick pencil drawings, and they're the community's just happy to spend time together, right, and just have something to do. And the lore chat's always going, and new lore is always coming in, and that's fun. And the lead narrative director loves to tease us because he won't give us any new information about the bird, and he won't give us any new information about the he loves torturing us. He loves our speculations. He loves to like kind of spark our imagination. So you just listen to us flail trying to find the answer.
I was watching some of that interview, and he's funny because he's got a lot of personality too. So then you can tell that he's excited about the ideas and the stuff that he's writing down, because then he's like really projective and animated when he starts to talk about it.
Yeah, it is incredible that someone like he was the lead writer for New World. I don't know if you know that or not.
Oh no, I didn't realize that. I missed that part.
He also so he wrote the lore Bible for New World, right? Wow, I don't know if he was the lead or not, but he was a big writer for it. I think he was the lead. And he's worked on a game that's dear to my heart, Metroid Prime 3. He was a writer for that. I don't think he was the lead for that, but like I love Metroid Prime 3 and like just the storytelling and the lore bits and stuff. So I'm already bought in, like, and then what we've seen from the lore so far and how many details there are and the confirmed stuff is like, man, this guy is cooking. Nice. Cooking. So definitely, keep him cooking, right? So
yeah, everybody. I mean, we'll promo Sage at the end, but go watch the 2 interviews then, right? Because you've got the collab interview and then a one-on-one.
I have for Aaron, I have one with me and Papa Tez and him on my channel.
Okay, that's the one on your channel.
And then I have one, it's on Rage's channel, but it is a collaboration, so it might be on my channel as well.
Yeah, you can click through it off of your channel, because it's like separated. Like when you land, you see your playlist of like your most latest videos, and then the next layer down is that one. And I can't remember how it phrased it, but I was like, oh, that's interesting. What? And I think maybe that's the thing where when you click collaborator in YouTube, it...
Yeah, so it is on Ragewood's channel, right? But me and Adam were a collaborator for that, so I guess it shows up on my channel too. That's awesome. I don't know the technology, but
I haven't written the comment yet. But the comment that I was going to write is, 4 men in varying stages of beard growth.
Oh, man, I'm so proud of my beard. My secret is just to wake up. I don't do anything to it. I give it a quick brush while I'm brushing my hair. If I remember to brush my hair, I just give it a quick, right?
Well, you had mentioned while the image was pulled up before I accidentally hit stop recording. For anybody who noticed that cut, you had mentioned that AI was the culture piece that you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, and so I think people, need to be careful about what they do with AI, right? I think that, have I used ChatGPT before? Yeah, right. But I feel like, something I want to see more is people, I don't want to see laws in place. I don't think laws really solve any issues unless it's a critical situation, right? Especially for these like copyright stuff. But it's something for me. It's like, I personally wouldn't go to Pinterest and take an image and use it as a thumbnail for my like commercial video, right? I would want to make my own thing, or with Godforge, I have permission to use their assets, right? From the people that made it. And I kind of view AI the same way, where it's like when I make a D&D character, yeah, I use AI because I would be okay using a random Pinterest image for my character, right? That's what you do in a private D&D game, right? But like, for my thing with culture is just like, don't let AI stop you from thinking. I have found that people just always, my wife's a professor, she at a university, and we always have these conversations about students nowadays just go to AI, but it's not as smart as a human is. Like, she gets lower quality papers from AI, but we're so used to the chess engines being better than humans, we think that AI is better than humans right now. You can produce higher quality writing samples, especially writing and analysis, than an AI. So please stop using it for analysis. It is a chat bot. It is not a. Don't ask it to do hardcore research for you. It will fail you.
It is it's something I've thought about a lot lately, where, you know, maybe every civilization goes through this, where like technology, something technological happens and it fundamentally alters the culture. And I lived through it, maybe you did as well, where I remember before the internet. I remember what life was like, both before the internet, you know, served all your needs, and before we had a phone in our pocket. And then that changed everything, right? And then like 3-4 years later, you know, social networking pops up, and social networking changed everything. And then now you've got AI being like, you know, I got to ask this thing, you know, every question I have, and that thing now becomes like my basis of thought for the next X amount of time. And that's fundamentally changing culture.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people are offloading their thinking to either, you know, social media or to AI now, right? And you kind of have this where it's hard to have a nuanced opinion anymore, where it's like, hey, you know, like for instance, hey, I think crit damage is great, but like sometimes there is such a thing as too much crit damage, right? And I think that is the correct opinion, right? I think that is a correct thing. But like, you know, that kind of nuance where it's like, okay, well, like, how's your attack looking, right? Because that's a balancing act, right? Nowadays, people are like, oh, you just get all the crit damage you can, and then you worry about attack later. It's like, no, it's a balancing act, right? Like, especially in Godforge, where we have weird angles of gaining a lot of a crit damage, right? And a lot of attack. I think that will be more of a juggling act. But like, and that's not a hard thought to think, but people just offload their thinking so much that, you know, I'm worried about, you know, in the long term, you know, especially with, you know, that's the thing I'm worried about, right? It's just, you know, don't offload your thinking so much. Like, take some time, slow down, and just think a little bit, right? And just enjoy thinking, you know?
Yeah, so, I worry too about how much does it homogenize things. So, you know, Sora came out, and we're starting to see, like, if you watch a YouTube video these days and you've done any research on content creation technology, you're going to get this, like, commercial in your YouTube feed of an AI creator course. And it's like how to make these crazy videos that used to take Hollywood execs, like, hundreds of hours. But then if the AI is always the one that makes it, and it's got the bank of knowledge, and people quit creating and contributing to the bank of knowledge, then it's just a self-reciprocating cycle forever, right? And so now your generated videos over 5, 10, 20 years are just going to be, by their very nature, a homogenized regurgitation.
Yeah, and that's the big thing too, is just like, you know, that's something I want to do too with my content, is I want to do something different, right? So expect me to, I'm going to use uncommon champions. I'm going to try to, that's something I really want to do, is just like, how far can we push uncommons? How far can we push rares? To just kind of spark some creativity, and like, hey, you don't need to use all legendaries. I imagine I may have more 6-star uncommons than legendaries on my account, just with the things I want to do, right? And like, just being creative a little bit, right? And be like, who cares if my account sucks, right? Who cares if my account's awful at PvP? Because like, I get to do this, I get to show you this cool stuff, like, hey, look, I have a berserker that can do, you know, Daimyo 15, right? So like, you know, like, who cares? But especially at least rares. And yeah, I think AI is, I think it's a great tool. I think that it will evolve into something useful, right? But it is a tool nonetheless, right? So I think just be careful of how much you try to make the tool do. Right, because I think it does lower the quality of content if overused or used incorrectly, right?
Oh, for sure.
And especially, you know, if I want to see AI content, I'll go to AI. If I'm looking for humans, I want some human content, right? And it can be, I think AI is great for brainstorming, right? To get some if you don't have someone to kind of like bounce thoughts off of. But I think once you actually get into the creative part of content creation, where like I'm doing my bullet points, or I'm doing my editing, I think that's when you put AI aside, and just kind of do your thing, right? Show you, because if people are watching, they want to see you, not AI,
100%,
right? And so like that's kind of the cultural thing I want to talk about. It's just like just chill, right? Like just don't be afraid to be yourself too. Like I was a nobody before this. I was not a big player in Raid. I did play a little bit, but I was not a big player in Raid. I tried speedrunning for a little bit. I was not a big speedrunner, right? Tried doing challenge runs. I wasn't a big challenge runner, right? I couldn't do the crazy stuff that you see people do in Dark Souls. But then like I kind of found my place just by doing the things I found to be fun, right? And then now I feel like I'm in a place where it's like, hey, this is my community. I found it, right? Like, here I am, and I'm just be yourself, and just like, if you find something fun, do it, right? If you want to push for something, push for it. And, don't try to make yourself artificially better, right? Or try to take shortcuts. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got here because of the time I spent thinking about speedrunning, the time I spent thinking about challenge runs. Those eventually served me, even though they ultimately failed. It's that conglomeration of everything I've tried to do in my life, right? And I was a math tutor before this as well. I have a math degree, actually.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, and so but that failed me too. I can't find a job in my degree, right? Like, I've been flipping burgers and sweeping floors most of my adult life, right? And it's just like, well, now I was unapologetically me. I kind of have my values that I've gathered through my childhood and such, right? I'm a big Christian, right? So I have Christian values, right? And so I stick to my values and stick to what I think is fun and stuff. And then, eventually I kind of found my place, which is like, all right, cool. I'm going to hang out here and have a good time. So,
yeah, I think something I've been saying recently is everybody looks back at history and says, this was the Renaissance, this era happened, that era happened, and like we went through like the information age or the information era. I think what we're entering now is like the era of authenticity, because the more AI and the more homogenized everything that we have, the more interpersonal connection is going to start to feel like a rare commodity.
Yeah, especially too. We live in an information where like we are drowning in information, and not just like true information either. So while we can find out anything, it takes so much time to find out what is true and what's not true, right? That like we're almost entering like an age of like uninformation, where it's like it takes so long to confirm everything, or takes so long to. Maybe people never confirm anything's false. They just believe a falsehood their entire life, right? And it's just like, like flat Earth is a perfect example. The Earth is round. I'm very confident saying that, right? But like, there are people that believe it's not. And there's so many different things, like Scientology is another one. It's like, the evidence you're presenting is kind of rough. Like, I don't think you're right. And it's just like, you have this, it's like, well, and think of that just on the small levels too. If just like AI tells people all the time. I think it just said, who was it to? Oh, I was just playing a game of Magic actually before the podcast, and someone asked AI how indestructible works. And those who play Magic, indestructible says destroy effects and any damage does not destroy the creature. AI said combat damage will still destroy the creature. But that's just wrong. Like, that's not how the game of Magic works. You have to exile or bounce it or whatever, right? And it's like, we live with so much information that these falsehoods are mixed with the truth, and it's so hard to pull them apart sometimes. Yeah. So I think I agree. It's like, I think we're like almost post-information, and I'd be interested to see if it's called the authenticity. That'd be fun. Right.
Age of authenticity. That, because when I look at content creators, the content creators that I've been drawn to, especially during Raid, Hell Hades, obviously. I mean, everybody loves watching Hell Hades videos. Ash, Darth. I love Darth. And whenever he got out of Raid, I stopped watching him as much. I kept up with him a little as he transitioned to Diablo. But Darth is one of the most authentic, I will tell you exactly how I feel people of all time. And obviously, I'm a huge fan of J Gigs. I think everybody knows it. But those are like the personas. And I very much more buy into the person that's doing the video and the content than the education. And maybe it's because I'm a sucker for entertainment and they're all very entertaining. But like, I like watching those off videos that Ash does where he just says like, hey, I'm a stoic, and this is what that means, and it has nothing to do with any of the games that he's playing.
Yeah. I think, too, it's like, for Godforge, people are going to figure out the things that work, right? Even if you call me the smartest, the smartest content creator, right? I am not going to have secret information. Like, all the content creators are eventually going to figure out they're all very brilliant people, right? I've talked to many of them about high-level concepts of Godforge, and they follow right along, and don't, like, it's like, all this information, it's all good, right? But, and then the second one is, well, I can't watch 200 content creators, right? There's 50 in the content creator, right? I can't watch 50, right? Yeah. They all have the same information. Well, hey, I like UnboundSage because he's funny and his glasses are crooked. I don't know how to fix that right now, but my glasses are crooked, right? He's just a weirdo who doesn't care what he looks like, right? And that's why I've been adjusting them for a while.
But you did admit to doing nothing to your beard, so...
That's right. And so, like, hey, I like the mountain man, right? With the glasses and the funny looking, whatever. But then some people are like, hey, this guy, I don't like the aesthetic, right? I like more of the Charlemagne is like, I think it's the polar opposite of me when it comes to, he's so refined and he thinks about his sentences so much. So his presentation is very clean. And then mine's like, all right, guys, I got a slideshow for you. Click, 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 click. Here's what I'm thinking, right? And so, like, what comes down to it is, like, the authenticity of, like, oh, yeah, hey, I like kind of the chaotic sage, like, on the mountain, kind of like, oh, I have so much to tell you, right? I have so many red dots to circle for you versus, like, the clean presentation of, like, Charlemagne, for example. I when I watch his content, I think of, like, it's so concise and so well spoken, and the way he presents himself and the visuals on screen. So if you don't like the chaotic nature, you like more of the orderly stuff, like you'll find Charlemagne, right? Or if and so I think even though there's 50 of us, right, and there's going to be more at launch as well.
Oh yeah.
Eventually, people will get sorted of who they like, and it'll be based off personality, not information. So,
yeah, especially when the information is out there.
Yeah, it's going to be very similar, or maybe like a 2 or 3 different, all valid opinions. Where it's like, hey, yeah, I really value Slayers. I think I always try to force Slayers to work, right? So if you watch me, you're going to see a lot of like Defender Slayer cores or Disruptor Slayer cores, right? Versus like some people really like Bruisers or Brawlers, right? Some people really like Invokers. So there might be like 3 or 4 school of thoughts. They're all valid. They all get the game. They all beat the game, right? And it's like, well, which one do you buy into, right? But like, all 50 people aren't going to have a different opinion. There's going to be like 3 to 4 school of thoughts, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah, and it's so true of most all content on YouTube. I think there's a trust factor where if you look at like review videos, I think the trust factor starts, if you have no familiarity, with volume. So it's like, I want to know about this monitor. And I search the monitor on YouTube and I get 10 videos and I'm going to watch the one with a million subscribers and 4 million views, right?
Yeah.
Never heard of them, but that's what I'm going to click first. Now, if I start to get used to somebody, then I quit caring about all that. And it's like, I'm just going to go to them because I've learned to trust them.
Yeah. And I think that's a big thing too. If you're a content creator now, like that's my formula. Like that's I'm gonna try to be a content creator just by being part of the community. Like there are people when a new lore video drops, I get pinged. I get DMs that say, "Hey, Sage, new lore, make a video about it." Right? Like, and it's just like, yeah, there are like people that care, right? And there are going to be people I'm sure that are going to watch this podcast just because I'm on it, right? Like, oh, we love Sage.
Oh,
right?
yeah, for sure. They're not watching it for me.
No, they're going to watch it for you. Well, you have your core audience too, right? And that's the cool thing is like when they come together, you get you get a little cross-pollination, right? It's like some of my guys are going to watch your content now. Some of your guys are going to watch my content. That's the whole point, right? Well, I want to talk to you, of course, but like, I think at the end of the day, I want to serve the community. I want to make sure that everyone in the community gets what they need, right? And so that's why I put my hat in, because I was like, I know stuff, right? I feel I have the confidence to make it just because of my interactions with you and people, like favorable interactions, and then also winning the event, right? It's like that puts some respect on the name, right? Like, oh,
yeah, for sure.
Sage is saying something. Maybe he won. So
well, in the plan, I mean, as much as we meme on the plan, I think if anybody's listening to this that could take something away for life lessons, it's like I've always been impressed that in a game setting, in a gamified game, because there was the whole Vegas thing hanging over, right? You created, you did strategic sessions and created a plan, and then you proceeded to execute the plan. And then it paid off literally for you. Like you literally won a contest because of doing what so many people never really learn to do in their lives, which is like, I want this to be the future, right? So what do I do to attain that? And you literally did it.
Well, the thing is, too, is it took me 12 hours. I started when the Hell Hades video was announced. I watched the video and then had a conversation with my wife. And from there, it was like a 12-hour endeavor. And then when you're doing that 12 hours, you think to yourself, man, am I wasting my time? Mm-hmm, right? Yeah. Like, that's the big thing. It's like, and especially when I'm executing it, right? And, I see, I'm performing well. But then I see other people are just, they're 20 stages ahead of me, 30 stages ahead of me.
Oh, yeah.
I talked about being in the top 5 at one point. There was a time I was in like the bottom, like below 50, and I was grinding the game hard. I was a name that people knew. And like, hey, I wasn't keeping up with the pack. And it's really, there is a skill to making a plan and then executing it. And I've done it so many times that, you get used to failure. And I could recognize, I was like, no, this plan is not failing. The plan is working. And it is my best chance to just execute it. Right? And so, and you're going against other people's plans. This was a PvP kind of thing, right?
It's still a competition.
It's still a competition, right? As much as I love all the people that played, right? It's still a competition, right? And so my plan came out on top, right? And I'm sure other people had other plans, right? I was nervous because my plan was about, I knew we were going to be energy starved. And then when Simon dropped that surprise energy, I was like, oh no. Because I was ahead in the stars. And that surprise energy drop, it started to equalize a little bit. And I was like, oh no, Simon, not the surprise energy. No, that wasn't part of the plan. Because the idea was to use my initial energy so efficiently that, like, and focus on the Shinigami, focus on the Guanyu, focus on the Scotty, right? Where people that build out a Hercules will find out that he is useless on the challenges, on the 140 challenges. He just is not usable, right? Or people that built out, just certain characters just weren't able to be used, right? They just didn't fit the criteria of what the challenge wanted you to do. And so that's why I was very careful and made a list of exactly who I'm going to build with the initial energy while it's still a problem. And when I saw that surprise energy drop, I was like, oh no. Simon, don't do this to me. So, but I think those who are doing it, like, it isn't, nothing you do in life is a waste. It is always a learning potential. So.
Well, yeah, so
there's one more thing to talk about, right?
There's the music question, and
the music.
You being a math major, I wonder if you've ever gotten into like progressive rock or strange timing music.
Yeah, I have. The big thing for me, we talk about authenticity. My favorite music will always be country music. I'm from the mountain. I'm a mountain man. like I said before in the start of the podcast, like I'm butchering a deer with my wife and the in-laws. Like that's what we're doing, right? And just with country music and not the modern stuff, more of like the 90s.
Yeah, I was gonna say what kind of country?
Yeah, more of like the bluegrassy kind of country, right? Is the authenticity of it, right? I think the most beautiful music in the world is a country heartbreak song that's not like mainstream, of a guy just pouring out his heart over a guitar, right? But I'd say my favorite music is, I like all genres of music as long as it's not like, as long as there's like emotion there, right? And like I love like white girl pop, man. I listen to Katy Perry, I listen to Kesha, because if it's the songs, like not their main stuff, but the stuff after that, the stuff where you peel away the popular stuff, you got to see like this is actually them, right? And especially when you hear about Kesha's story, it's like, wow, this is great,
I know the one song by Kesha, and I like the one song that I know, but that was definitely a radio song.
But yeah, and that's the thing too. Is just like, so I like music as long as it's like different and not even necessarily different, but just like some heart and soul went into it, Like I think, for example, like Rap God for Eminem. Like I don't listen to a lot of rap, but Rap God is just excellent because it's you can tell it's his honest feelings, right? He's like, hey, I'm kind of at the top, and you guys say it's hard, but it ain't too hard, right? It's like that's pretty good. Like that's his opinion. So yeah, country's my usual thing, honestly, but I do listen to some progressive rock. I listen to anything. Like I'm down to listen to anything, as long and I'll like it as long as it's genuine. So let's do a lot of fan songs as well about games and stuff, because like there's so much passion there, even if the execution's not great.
Well, that's true. Yeah,
catching the passion, right? That's the big thing for me. Less than, and so it's less about the ear candy and more about the way it makes me feel. Right?
Okay.
So,
yeah, that was not the answer that I was expecting. Then I thought maybe there was a piece of your brain that was working like mine, where it becomes the deconstruction of it, where it's like listening to it and taking it apart.
Yeah, I mean that too, right? Like, there's so many ways to enjoy music, and there is just sometimes I like the really busy electronic music, right? Even something like the Vocaloids I listen to occasionally.
Ooh, I don't know that one.
Well, the Vocaloids is like Hatsune Miku and stuff, right? But the computer, so someone makes the song, but the lead vocalist is a computer program, right? Like AI,
gotcha.
But before AI was like a thing, right? So I get in the mood for that sometimes, where there's just someone who makes like this absolute fire track that just happens, that can't sing, so they just have a computer sing for them. Sometimes I feel like the country blues, right? Sometimes you gotta put on some blues, right? Sometimes you put on it's just whatever mood I'm in. Sometimes like the grand orchestra, like I think of Expedition 33, the soundtrack for that is so vibrant and so big, and so sometimes I want to feel like a superhero. I want to feel like the great tragedy, right? I just listen to that kind of music. So but yeah, I feel like that's kind of a cop-out answer, but I do listen to everything as long as it has soul. And so I don't listen to a lot of radio. So a lot of radio songs are produced to be catchy, but it doesn't have that like soul, right? So
that's an argument that I make, and I've mentioned it on at least one of the episodes. Maybe it wasn't with a guest, but that's an argument that I make about math rock, is that, a lot of people will say, I don't like it because it has no soul. And it's like, I either disagree with them or they didn't hear the right music, right? Because I think of Chan, and Chan is a good example of, we are making, at least from my perspective, right? Who knows where their heart is, but to me it sounds like we are making this music so that you are impressed by the music we made. It's like a very clean, perfect, look how badass we are. And that's not, there's no soul there. Like when I hear stuff like Don Cab from the 90s, where it's just crunchy and there's mistakes, but it's still like insane technicality, that's the stuff I love.
Yeah, and the thing is too is just like, I think of like, the classical For Elise, right? And I don't know if the story behind that, but it's it was supposed to be a very simple piece so that his lover could play it, right, learn on the piano. But at some point there was a falling out. I don't know if she cheated on him or something like that. But then the piece gets extremely complicated. It becomes this very emotional piece. It was supposed to be like, oh, I make this for you to like play it, right? And so like that kind of stuff that has the story of like, you can feel the beginning of like this very soft melody that's very easy to play. That's awesome. Goes to this like absolute heart-wrenching like complexity. It's just like every time I hear For Elise, I'm like, oh man, this is a man whose heart is broken and he's just like taking out his frustration on the piano, and stuff like that. So just you can feel it too once you know the story as well. I think that helps you. Yeah, that's why the artists I really follow their story as well. So so you can kind of feel it in the piece, right? But yeah, so I listen to anything though, but I do prefer like I do value even music that is just very technical as well, right? But my favorite stuff that I listen to, like what's on my Spotify playlist is a lot of just stuff that just there's just emotion and soul there, right?
What's the dude's name that's the singer for the Steel Drivers?
I don't know, man.
What's that guy's name? Because I feel like what you were describing earlier is his music, but I can't believe I can't think of his name. He's so freaking popular.
Tammy Rogers, is that who it is? Or Matt Dame?
Chris Stapleton.
Chris Stapleton. Yes.
Yeah.
I listen to his music. Yes.
That was when you were like soul country, a little bluegrassy. Yes. He's what comes to my mind.
Yes, Chris Stapleton is definitely someone that's on the Spotify list. Eric Church as well. He's some of my favorite as well. I mean, I'll just go to my playlist here. But those two are like the big ones, and then Jamie Johnson is another one as well, like David Anko, stuff like that. Montgomery Gentry at times, right? I think the song "Speed" by Montgomery Gentry is one of my favorite songs of all time. Just the guy, heartbreak song. Once again, he's just trying to just get rid of the heartbreak by going real fast in the car, right? Just love it, right? You can just feel it, right? It just drips the emotion. So
if the first time I had ever heard country music growing up would have been like Chris Stapleton, then I probably would have gone through life with a better appreciation for country. But like when the first thing that you hear is some like a herp derp derping on a dirt floor, you're just like, I can't take it.
Especially you have these like fake country boys that like they just say buzzwords, right? And just like, man, you have never ever been in the woods, have you? Like you've never you've never done a hard day's work, have you?
You've never actually started a fire, have you?
You've never started a bonfire, have you? Like you've never thrown a wooden couch into a bonfire because it got ripped during the party. Like, come on, dude. Like you're not a real country boy. Yeah, we've done stuff like that, right? In my youth, it's just like, oh, we broke the couch, just throw it in the bonfire, like. Oh man, good stuff.
Cool. Well, for everybody that's listening, so you do stream, so we need to put your Twitch link in, but everything is one YouTube channel.
I'm going to stream on YouTube. I think.
Oh right, sorry. Stream it on YouTube. Same channel though.
Same channel. Yep. Okay. That's the plan. I haven't done it yet, but I think especially the first couple of days of Godforge, I'll probably be streaming just to really feel the community, right? But that's the thing I'm looking forward to the most, honestly, is like I'm going to stream like 2 hours before it drops and just like kind of be in a waiting room with everyone like, all right, let's do it. Like, when's it coming out?
I don't know whose stream I'm going to hang out in because everybody's going to be freaking streaming.
Yeah, I know.
It's going to be an interesting week. I know that.
Yeah, you definitely don't have to, don't feel obligated to come to mine. I'm just going to be.
I think I'm going to have to hop.
You're going to have to hop, yeah, for sure.
I'm going to make a YouTube video of stream hopping everybody.
Oh, that'd be fun. That'd be very fun. But yeah, if you're gonna follow my stuff, yeah, I do a lot of techno stuff. Right now, I do a lot of like lore speculation. So I think I have like 3 or 4 about like where I think the lore is gonna go. I have a few on my thoughts on mechanics. So I have a video coming up about, you know, how is ultimates gonna work against boss fights, you know, or like stacking abilities. Like, you know, every time you do Masashi's core, you get 10% more attack. Is that something we're gonna be doing against bosses? Right? Is that something that matters? Like, our bosses are going to be balanced around that, where you have to bring a stacking character? Because there are a lot of stacking characters, right? Who knows, right? So that's, you know, that's kind of stuff I have, is just thought processes like, hey, here's some unique mechanics to Godforge. Let's talk about them, right? So that's what you'll see on my channel a lot right now. And then when the game comes out, I mean, we're going to be doing guides. We're going to be doing lore breakdowns, more lore speculation. And then, you know, trying to use uncommon, and by uncommon I don't mean just uncommons, but just champions that people gloss over when they're going over the roster, and just be like, hey, like, I think ASAC is going to be a crazy champion. I've looked into his kit more, and like, you know, I plan on 6-starring in ASAC because I think he's gonna be some fun for sure.
Oh yeah, I forgot about him. Him and Minotaur. What?
Yeah, Minotaur. You know that Minotaur has 100%. If you A5 him, has 100% strong hit chance against cunning targets. So it's like, you know, we're gonna be cooking up stuff like, hey, can we do anything with that? Yeah, you know, just doing some nerd stuff, you know, doing the math so you don't have to, right? So,
and if Fateless is listening, make Shishi great again. Please make Shishi great again.
Yeah, I mean, at least have him bring in the TN units, man. Like,
yeah, that was the big failure of Wave 3.
Yeah, he was on the plan. I had him 5-star, and I was like, you're going to be a 6-star if you bring in TN units. And he didn't, so I literally just fed him. Yep. He immediately went to the Guan Yu. I was like, all right, cool. You're going to 6-star Guan Yu now. Because, like, you're just not good enough, you know, especially with the barrier nerf, along with the not bringing in the people. Like, get out of here, Shishi. You're done. You're done. Sit down. So... But
right on. Well, thanks again for joining today. We appreciate you, Sage, and we're looking forward to seeing some great things.
I'll do the best I can. Like I said, thanks for having me as well. If you ever want to chat, I'm always down. I love to talk and you know, especially just serve the community, right? And I think that you have the same thing with just sharing off the CCs. So if you ever want to do something, let me know. I'll probably say yes and be there in a heartbeat.
Yeah, for sure. Y'all look forward to another Ned Sage video in the future.
I'd be super down. All
right, and for everybody else, peace.